wants nothing to do with this. Their desire is to get along in and with the world and to profit materially of its temporal and carnal wealth and comfort. And that's why they have changed their doctrine, things like, prosperity gospel, to reflect that, so that they can still feel good about themselves and pat themselves in the back and talk about what good Christians they are. And they may thump their chests and cry crocodile tears while bemoaning the terrible persecutions that faithful Christians suffer and endure around the world. But you can trust that, aside from repenting themselves of their dead, lukewarm ways and getting right with God, they're going to run from any prospect of having to face the slightest possibility of any kind of persecution. Not the faithful, though. Okay. Now, they don't go looking for it. Nobody wants it. Again, this last 4th of July, again, I was reminding everybody, please pray that God keeps us safe, that there isn't somebody that attempts to take advantage of the situation and scenario and, try to do some harm to us while we're out here. I wasn't talking about somebody, saying something mean to us or whatever, or anything like that, which, to my knowledge, it didn't happen. Thank God for it. But if it had, it shouldn't have stopped anybody from doing what we were doing and, passing out those gospel tracts and getting those 410 gospel tracts into the community in that hour and a half time that we were given. It was a good thing. But you're going to run into it if you do it often enough. I most certainly have in 46 years. By persecution from family, persecution from friends, persecution from acquaintances, persecution from neighbors, because they don't, as it said over there in Romans chapter 1, they don't just approve of, they love it. You're telling them things they don't want to hear because it goes against what they want to do and what they want to be and what they think is right. And we don't go looking for it, but we're not put off by the potential of persecution. Yeah, the flesh is going to give you a hard time. It's always going to give you a hard time with that. It doesn't want to do well, too bad. The flesh is going to attempt to get them to shirk their duties. But in victory over the flesh through the Holy Spirit of God, the new man in the faithful always overcomes in power and goes on to glorify the Lord who bought them, as they esteem him worthy of it. All right, we'll stop there for this evening. Are there any questions at all for the lesson? Any of the verses that I gave that you would like me to repeat for you, or any comments at all on the lesson? All right, we'll stop there.